The whole area around downtown Denver could look really, really different in just a few years, and a lot of it centers around two extremely rich people. This will very likely dramatically change the layout of the city of Denver, so I'm gonna get you caught up with what's going on. A lot of the talk surrounds Ball Arena, where the Avalanche and Nuggets play, and Mile High Stadium, which is of course where the Broncos play. If you didn't already know, Elitch Gardens is going to be moving to its third location as soon as 2025, and a lot of it is connected to what's going on with these stadiums and these rich people. And after you watch this video, add a comment to share the ideas that you think make the most sense for Denver and our stadiums. Real quick, if you're not a sports fan, the major sports team owners in Denver are rich, and that sets some really important context for all this. The Nuggets and the Avalanche are owned by the Kroenke family, which includes Stan Kroenke, who owns about 1 million acres of real estate throughout the United States, and he also owns the Los Angeles Rams. His wife, Anne, is often referred to as the heiress to the Walmart fortune, so there is some serious money in the Kroenke sports entertainment family. Stan Kroenke is also the money behind the River Mile neighborhood, which will be moving Elitch Gardens out of Denver, and this project will be happening over the course of the next decade or so. It will just dramatically change that area from an amusement park to restaurants, places to live, and things to do. We technically have the 4th richest owners in the NBA and the 2nd richest owners in the National Hockey League, with a net worth pushing around $12 billion and probably going up. On the Broncos side of the house, they are owned by a group led by Rob Walton, another heir to the Walmart throne, who has a net worth around $59 billion. That makes him the richest NFL team owner in the league. Not Dallas, not New York, not LA, right here in Denver. And all of this kind of comes full circle because Rob Walton's cousin is Anne Kroenke, who is married to Stan Kroenke, who's connected to obviously the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the River Mile neighborhood that's right next to that stadium. If you didn't know, Stan Kroenke recently built one of the greatest stadiums on the planet for the Los Angeles Rams, and he built this thing with a net worth that's about 20% of Rob Walton's. But there are some very unique circumstances at play here too. Let's start with Ball Arena, formerly known as the Pepsi Center for many of us who have been here for a minute. Something that's very unique about Ball Arena that a lot of people don't know is that the team not only owns the stadium, they own the parking lots and the 55 acres of land that are around the stadium. This is very, very rare. While Ball Arena is in the mix in Denver, it's kind of surrounded by this moat of parking lots, and that's very unusual if you've been to a lot of other stadiums in other cities around the country. In most cities, it's very easy to walk to like a McDonald's, a Starbucks, or like the local wing spot that's across the street from the stadium. At Ball Arena, you can't really do that easily. It's actually kind of weird how few food and entertainment options there are right around the stadium, because the parking lots kind of turn everything into like a 10-ish minute walk. And so right now, the Kroenke group wants to take those parking lots and the surrounding area and create something called the Sports Mile. If you look on a map, Ball Arena is roughly in the middle of Coors Field and Mile High, and this Sports Mile concept is creating a completely different entertainment and commercial district with also residential there as well that will completely transform the area as we know it around Ball Arena. This would really change the experience of going to a Nuggets or an Avalanche game because there would actually be a lot of things to do and a lot of people would live nearby. I really don't know what would happen in terms of parking. Maybe more people would take the light rail, who knows? But this would really change this area around the stadium. And I am a Nuggets season ticket holder, and one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from visiting fans is that there's just kind of a long walk to do anything around the stadium. And this would happen next to the River Mile project, which is creating that new downtown walkable neighborhood along the Platte River. They'd be right next to each other. So basically the Sports Mile takes the River Mile and extends it through the parking lots that are around Ball Arena. This would be crazy different from what the experience is right now. And if you're following the money, this can happen because Stan Kroenke is behind the River Mile project. Kroenke Sports and Entertainment owns the Nuggets and the Avalanche, so he could just pump out more money to extend his project. project. If you're learning something new from this video, please give it a like so more people will see it, and feel free to subscribe if you want to keep up with this stuff. If you've been anywhere near downtown Denver, you know that there's just not a lot of green space or parks there, and that would be part of the Sports Mile and River Mile concepts that are being worked on right now. Based on the latest plans, a large percentage of the space would be dedicated toward parks and green space, and that is a little bit lacking in this area of Denver. Of course, a lot of this greenery is for the new residents that would live in this part of Denver, but it would dramatically change the experience for fans and visiting fans who are checking out the stadium. They would have this whole entertainment district to check out that would be brand new and probably very fancy. Very few people come to Denver to specifically check out Ball Arena, but this change, if it goes through as planned, could really change our mid-market city to be kind of a destination when it comes to checking out sports arenas. Ball Arena would go from being surrounded by parking lots, kind of like where the Chicago Bulls play right now, to being part of a shiny, new, maybe soulless part of town, but there would be a lot of things to do nearby. Because it will be brand new and probably very nice, it does have the potential to influence how future NBA and NHL stadiums are done in the future. If you look at all of the stuff around like Nashville's NHL stadium, it could be a little bit more like that in Denver. And don't panic, it could be a decade plus before all of this comes to fruition, but that area around Ball Arena will probably be looking very different in the 2030s. Now let's move over to Mile High, which proudly stands as part of Denver, even though the stadium is aging a little bit at this point. Most mega stadiums these days are being built outside of the cities that they actually represent. Like the Cowboys in Arlington, the Rams are in Inglewood, the 49ers are in Santa Clara, the Las Vegas Raiders are in Vegas, but that's Vegas. So there are really two realistic options for Mile High on the table right now. Number one, which is kind of in the works right now, renovate Mile High and do something with the space around the stadium, but keep it where it is. And number two, maybe unpopular with some people, move the Broncos likely into the northeast part of Aurora, where there's a lot of land, and build something completely from the ground up, maybe like SoFi Stadium Part 2. Personally, I do like having our stadiums as part of the city, and right now that's what's going down, but the question is, for how long? The new, very deep-pocketed Broncos ownership group is already putting $100 million into renovations for Mile High to just kind of bring it into the modern era. When you compare it to modern NFL stadiums and even college stadiums, Mile High is looking a little bit old. The $100 million will go towards things like improving the scoreboard, the video board, the food, the Wi-Fi, and the accessibility. By the end of the renovations, we should have about the 4th largest screen in the NFL. $100 million is a good chunk of money to spruce up a stadium, and even the grittiest of Broncos fans probably wouldn't mind some improvements to the mega concrete stadium that Mile High is right now that it's around 20 years old. However, let's not forget that we have the richest owner in the NFL, and his family member just built one of the most impressive stadiums on the planet and is building a whole entertainment district, and the Broncos owner has a lot more money than he does. While I'm not rich, I do have a feeling that people who are this rich get pretty competitive. Even though the Broncos have 10 years left on their lease, things are going to be in motion. You're already seeing these renovations, and absolutely the most unlikely thing to happen is that they're just gonna stop here and that nothing else will change. The new owners have said that any talk about building a new stadium is premature, but they have also said, "We'll evaluate our options and dig in and understand the situation before making any decision." If the Sports Mile happens, which it probably will, there is a chance that the Broncos could stay put if that Sports Mile project pulls closer to Mile High so that it feels like it's kind of connected. The new ownership group has that Walmart DNA, but I'm pretty confident that they would spend a ton to try and one-up anything that's been done in the league so far if they do it from the ground up. But it would also be a little soul-crushing to many loyalist Broncos fans who would just be very sad to see their team move out of the city. Or something else could happen. Who knows? But right now, those are the two most likely things that are on the table. Whether you're a fan of the Nuggets, the Avalanche, or the Broncos, or you just like knowing what's going on in Denver, there are some big changes in the works. I'm really into this stuff personally, so if I find that a lot of people watch this video and are into it, I'll cover this more in depth in the future. But for now, feel free to subscribe if you want to keep up with what's going on in Denver. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll catch you on the next one.